I was originally planning to make a review of my DJI Neo drone, but I thought it might be more instructive to make a video about why I make videos in the first place, because perhaps it's a bit obvious, but it's something that I have reflected on a bit and wanted to share my thoughts. The video rolling today is from a warm but damp fall day, and you'll see a near miss encounter with a squirrel and also a near fall. So it's at least a little bit interesting to watch as I talk a little bit about making videos. So a couple of reasons that I like to make videos. I think it started from a love of music. I don't consider myself a particularly good longboarder. I'm not particularly adept at videography, but I do love music, and I think I've got pretty eclectic taste, or pretty wide-ranging taste anyway. But I really enjoy putting images to sound, and if I particularly like a song, I know when I hear that song again and I associate it with something which I love to do, which is longboarding, it will form a positive image in my mind, and I'll want to ride again. So it's sort of a motivational tool that I can use when the weather's not great, or I'm stuck inside on the elliptical, or I'm sort of daydreaming about riding in the middle of winter when I wish the weather was nicer. So it's kind of a repository of memories that I can tap into when I need a little bit of motivation to ride. So that's one issue, self motivation. The other reason I create videos is it is a way, hopefully, to connect with other people. And I ride, I'd say 99% of the time alone. And I generally like it. You know, I can listen to music or podcasts. I can kind of get lost just in the rhythm of pumping or paddling or pushing along a trail. I don't mind riding alone. It's certainly nice to ride with other people, but the reality is where I live, there are just not that many people that ride distance on a longboard, and even if they do, they probably don't have the same schedule that I do. So the reality is, if I'm going to ride, I'm going to ride alone. But the videos are a way maybe to asynchronously connect with other people who are riding. So it's a way for me to expand my group of people who I can share this passion with. And that can transcend countries, it can transcend languages, especially since most of my videos I shoot with music. It doesn't require any translation, and it's a way to put myself out there as an introvert who doesn't particularly talk a lot to especially the new people. I can put myself out there and feel like I can connect with people in a pretty easy way. So it serves for me as an entry point into meeting virtual skate friends, and eventually I've been fortunate enough to transition a lot of those virtual relationships into real friendships when I've met people in person. And to me, the video creation facilitates that. I don't think you need to make videos to establish those same connections. You can comment on other people's content. You can find ways to connect with them in the real world, which is probably a better way to do it anyway. But you probably have to live in a bigger community to do that, or expend quite a bit more effort to create those communities yourself if they don't already exist. So to me, the videos serve as a social connection, or an entry point, if you will, into connecting with people online that I wouldn't otherwise meet. The other thing that I find the videos helpful for, particularly using the drone, is providing a third person point of view. And I mentioned earlier, I ride alone, so I don't, most of the time, I don't get feedback from other people. And even if people were there to give me feedback, most people aren't going to critique your riding. They're focused on their own riding, or they want to be polite. They're not going to say you look ridiculous with this particular switch stance or what have you. So it is a way to capture your technique in a very or as objective a way as possible that then you can look at later and look at things you could tweak a little bit. And I've been able to do that with my GoPro and mounting that. I use a skate pole land paddle to mount my GoPro and get some interesting angles with that. And I enjoy that from a creative standpoint, sort of creating different shots. But the drone is something that it gives you another perspective that is hard to accomplish when you're riding alone. It would take a dedicated follower, someone riding behind you, filming you the whole way, to do better than the drone. So it's a pretty cheap and easy way to get a personal coach, if you will, or at least give you the tools to then analyze, to either self-critique or show it to other people, or maybe some people want to be blunt or kind enough, depending on how you look at it, to give you feedback on things that you post online. So at least from my standpoint, if you see anything that I'm doing that doesn't make sense to you, or you think I could do better in terms of efficiency or even just aesthetics, I'm happy to receive that feedback. So feel free to reach out to me or comment on something that you see. So I found that just in the short time that I've had the drone, I can see the power of analyzing that video after you ride and kind of maybe tweaking some things, particularly with my paddle stroke or pumping technique. Things become much more obvious when they're viewed, say from behind by an unwavering critical eye. So that's the other thing I like about creating videos, is that sort of ability to coach yourself or work on technique. And then perhaps finally, it scratches a creative itch for me. I'm not someone that considers myself particularly creative, but it's something perhaps that I aspire to be. My dad had a very good eye for photography, and he was a painter, and it seemed to come pretty effortlessly to him, the ability to create, even if he had a career that most of the time probably didn't allow him to exercise that side of his brain very much. But once he retired, he had ample time to explore many more creative passions, and it's something that inspires me now, and I feel like I have a long way to go. But one thing I've found with things that involve creativity, you're certainly not going to get better at it by not trying. So maybe this is my attempt at a creative outlet, and it's something that I don't judge myself too harshly on, because I think the hardest thing is just to put your stuff out there and open yourself up to feedback. But I do think, looking back at some of the videos I made a year or two or three ago, I think I've gotten a little better. I don't think, it's hard to judge that sometimes, but I feel like I enjoy watching videos that I make now more than the ones I did a few years ago. So maybe that's progress. Maybe that's due to song choice or something else. But now I'm trying to explore a little bit more, giving commentary or talking a little bit more about some of the things I've learned about longboarding, rather than just showing with music and video. And I'll continue to do that as well. But if you have topics that you would be interested in hearing about, I'm happy to try to chime in about them. I appreciate you watching all the way to this point, and feel free to comment or reach out to me if you had any suggestions. Thanks and have a great day. Get out there and skate.